Alright, so we're going to get started on Revit 2019 Demo 15, continuing from Demo 14. So I'm going to open up Demo 14. This lecture is going to consist of primarily color fills and schemes. So floor plan 1 needs to be prepared with rooms, and if you're following along in these video lectures, you'll be in good shape because we already have rooms set up. I do want to hide these separation lines, so I'm going to hit VH to hide those. We went over that in the last lecture. We're going to pick the first room, a bedroom, and not the room tag. So understand that when you're selecting these, you're not actually selecting the room, you're only selecting the room tag, even though it's showing you the boundary of that room. Now, one thing to note is, notice that the room is there. So when we tab through, we want to find the center point of that room. So notice I'm just tabbing around in space until I can find that X. That X is the room. So when I tab through and see that room and select, it's now selecting the room. Another way I could do this is I could drag a window over this and filter it to just filter the room. So if that's easier for you, that's a way to do it. From there, we will use the department parameter to organize our room types. So scrolling down, we'll notice department. And in here, we're going to set this department to sleeping. Oops, I messed up there. So I'm going to do that again. Filter out the rooms, hit apply, OK. Go into department, type in sleeping, hit enter. Now that department is specified. Notice that the name is bed 1. So now we want to pick the bathroom, and we want to go to properties, department, service, OK. So same thing, I'm just kind of tabbing in space till that pops up. Bath is shown, department, I want it to be service. Hit enter. One other way I could do it, there isn't an OK option, so I'm just hitting enter. So now I want to pick the living space. Same thing, I'm just tabbing as I highlight. Select it, department, living. Just hitting enter. Moving into family. Same thing, just tabbing, selecting it. We want to call it living as well. And actually, once these are specified, I can hit this drop down and select it again and hit apply. So that's something to understand as well. So bedroom 2, selecting it, department, sleeping, enter. And then I want to change bedroom 3, sleeping, enter, or tab. You can tab through as well. And then we're going to go to the hall and call that corridor. Corridor. Apply. And then I'm going to go to garage, tab through. Notice I had selected the floor, like the level as its own. That's not what I want. What I want is the actual garage, and we're going to set this department to non-living space. Enter. And now before we create the color scheme, we will duplicate with detailing the floor plan level 1. Now the reason you want to duplicate with detailing is because if you duplicate just standardly, it's not going to pull over all the settings. So with detailing is going to be very helpful, so you get a direct copy. We're going to name this level 1 presentation. Hit enter. And then in here, I want to right click over level 1 in the browser. I had duplicated the view with detailing and called it level 1 presentation. So I just renamed that copy. Now we're going to move in to color fill presentation. In level 1 presentation, we want to view hide any annotations. So any of these labels are going to get hidden. Any of the actually, we'll leave the labels on for now. Any of these door tags or window tags will be hidden. Any of these sections will be hidden. Any of these dimensions will be hidden. Any of these elevations will be hidden. And now we've got roughly just this layout. We'll also hide door tags. So I'm going to go through until I can highlight the door tag, hit VH, and it'll hide all the door tags. And now we're in a decent spot. Now I'm going to go up to annotate. And under annotate, what I want to do is I want to create a color fill legend. So color fill legend. And no color scheme assigned to the view, so I want to left click in the screen. Space type, we're going to set to rooms. Color scheme, we're going to set to department, and we're going to hit OK. And you'll notice it automatically assigns colors based on what I've selected. Now, entry, dining, and kitchen, we'll go back to level 1 real quick here. I could have done it from that view as well, but I want to tab through and select those because I want them to have a department. The department being living in this particular case. I want it to actually be living the same way, or else we'll get a different color. So just going through and finishing living, entry as well, clicking white space to deselect everything, kind of just tabbing through until I can find it. I can't seem to find it, so I'm just going to do a left click filter, check none, rooms, and then I want to set this to living as well. Enter. Now if I go back to presentation, you'll notice that the color here is set correctly. So it's super helpful to be able to do a color fill scheme like this, because now you can start to assign color coding to what your intent is based on what you've designed. Now if I want to shade the walls, I can hit VV and I can go to walls, and under walls I can go to cut patterns, so cut patterns, and I can set the pattern foreground to solid fill, and we can hit OK, apply, OK, and you'll notice that all the walls are now solid. So left clicking on the legend will allow you to change the color scheme. So if we edit the type, you'll notice that in here we have a series of fonts, so you can actually adjust the font styles. You can change whether they're bold, italic, or underlined. But what we really want to do is edit the scheme. So up here, edit scheme. We can duplicate the scheme if we want to set it to something different. So for this particular one, we'll go ahead and do that and call it shell color scheme. Hit OK. And then we're going to create new colors for the scheme. So for this one, we're going to do yellow. For the next one, we'll do a pink. For the next one, we'll do a purple. For the next one, we'll do a lime green. And for the final one, we'll do an orange. And we'll hit apply and OK. And you'll notice that the color is reflective of what we've chosen. We want to keep them light because if we're printing these, it's going to burn our ink. It's going to just waste a lot of ink. So the lighter you can go, the better. Now you can swap between schemes. So if you want to show a different scheme, you could go to department and you could show that different scheme. So that's very critical. We could do a scheme by area as well. So we could actually duplicate and create a new scheme by area. And so what we could do is we could essentially create a base finish, a ceiling finish, department, floor finish, name, number, occupancy, occupant, perimeter, and wall finish. When we delete or erase a room separation line, so if I hit VV and go to lines, under lines, if I hit room separation and view that and delete them, you'll notice that multiple rooms are in the same enclosed area or region. The correct area and perimeter will be assigned to one room and the others will display a redundant room. You should separate the regions, delete the extra rooms, or move them into different regions. So that's important to understand because if you adjust things, it can definitely create problems, especially if you delete those. So we'll go ahead and hide those again. Now, the schemes can be done by area. You could do a scheme, we could change the title of this department legend. So we could actually edit the type here. Let's see where we can actually adjust that. We changed it here, so I could rename it here. I could capitalize it, department, and hit apply. I'm not quite sure why it's not changing here. I'm assuming that it has to do with the initial legend that we had created. So when we had created it from the scheme, right here's the title. That's what we want to adjust. So if we had changed the title up here it will adjust it. Now you can change the color based on area, base finish, and so on and so forth. Colors are not preserved when changing which parameter is colored. To color by a different parameter, consider making a new color scheme. So this is very powerful because when you're trying to show design intent, it allows you to create a schedule or a legend that associates different colors to your design intent. So showing corridor spaces, showing living spaces, showing non-living space, services, and sleeping spaces. Now, in this lecture, you've learned how to create room separations and apply properties to rooms, and how to create a color fill. So we're going to go ahead and File, Save As, Project, and we want to save this as Demo15, and we're going to hit Save. And I will see you in the next lecture.